Welcome to the FGA Report. I am your host, Brian Smith, and I am going to go over some of the top players that I saw yesterday at the Championship 7 collaboration with 7-on-7 Elite as they ran a tournament in Haines City, Florida at Feltram Academy, and they got a couple turf fields there. Some good players out there at the first tournament of the year, and the two teams that I focused on were 24K and Certified Dogs. I'm going to do a little report about Certified Dogs a little bit later, probably tomorrow. I'll get a video out. But today I'm going to do the focal point on 24K. This is a group that's primarily Central Florida, but they'll grab a few kids from Fort Myers, kids from Jacksonville, and they even got Jaquavius Sori to come in from Chipley High School, which is just a little bit west of Tallahassee, and he's one of the top players in the country for the class of 2023. So I'm going to jump right in this. First look at the kids for this year. You never know what you're going to get, what kind of conditioning. They haven't practiced for a while. They've played their state tournaments. They may have done some kind of all-star event, etc. Bottom line is I was impressed. The kids were in better shape than I expected across the board, not just for the top two teams there, but teams that were trying to rise up a little bit. They had some good athletes, the kids that were training hard, which is what I want to see. Are you putting in the time? And the answer is yes. So with that, the first player I want to talk about, somebody that I'm really glad was there playing with 24K because he lives in a location that's hard to get to. Chipley is maybe 40 minutes to an hour from Tallahassee, right off of I-10, middle of nowhere. It just is. It's a 2A program, 3A program, something like that for next year. But they were 1A, I believe, from what DeQuavius told me yesterday. So he's 6'2", 195 pounds. He plays receiver, but he played some linebacker, even middle linebacker yesterday for 24K. His cousin actually is an outside linebacker for the Georgia Bulldogs. So the bloodlines are good in the Sori family. Here's the key with him. He's probably played about everything because he's almost always the best athlete on the field when he steps onto it, no matter where he's at. We're talking about a potential 5-star kind of player. He had a really good change of direction after a back pedal. He did a good job of reading the quarterback, and he's super aggressive when he attacks the football. Not just going through the guy, creating pass interference, etc. I was extremely happy to see how well he was natural in defense. So much so that while I know he can play receiver, I've seen plenty of his film, this is a kid that could be an elite defensive player, much like his cousin. Committed to Georgia, but told me that he's going to visit Penn State, and he's also interested in Miami. As a matter of fact, probably going to visit Miami next weekend. He's going down to the battle tournament with 24K. So that's going to be pretty interesting because he's going to try and take visits to several schools, and there's just nothing not to like about it. Very talented, 6'2", 195, no body fat. I mean, he's got abs on abs, and he can play multiple positions, and he wants to take visits. Probably be a late decision for a final decision. So DeQuavius Sori is a player that I can't wait to see go against even more players this next weekend. Miami is always a talented place for any 7-on-7 tournament, and Battle does a good job with theirs. I'm going to check out Immortals and several other teams that are going to be there. I'm sure SFE and some others will be there as well. Not even concerned about it, but there will be plenty of competition. So next up, this is a player some of you probably don't know as much about. And he played with 24K some last year, but he's gotten stronger, more confident, and most importantly, he has more command. When you're a quarterback, that's important. Blake Boda plays for Seabreeze in Daytona, 6'4", $185. Arm strength really improved. Not just a little bit. I mean, it really improved. He had some zip yesterday. Threw some tight windows where the receiver would sit down in between two safeties or a linebacker in a corner, whatever it was, depending on the depth of the play. And he just threw it really hard. And he got it there. Last year, some of those may not have been completions. He's a kid that has some interest from different teams, Michigan State, etc. But at this point, no offers. I expect that to change. Can't teach his height. He's a tall kid. And more importantly, he has the athleticism to move around and run bootlegs, sprint outs, etc. He could run a little read option. He could do some different things with RPOs. All of that is fine as well. But again, it comes back to his poise, his command, and that arm strength. It's improved. So this is a player to watch out for. Check him out if you get a chance. Blake Boda, he plays at Seabreeze in Daytona Beach. Another kid on the same coast but further north. This is a guy I didn't even know existed. Zach Dowdy. Droughty, excuse me. He is the quintessential Florida kid that kind of went under the radar. He plays at Yulee, just north of Jacksonville. The next town pretty much would be in the state of Georgia. I mean, it is the very, very, very tip of Northeast Florida. Derrick Henry, the running back for the Titans after playing with Alabama and winning the Heisman, same high school. But there just aren't a lot of kids that come out of there. This is a kid, 6'2 and a half, 180 pounds or so. He has the athleticism to go up and get it. I watched some of his video after the tournament because I was impressed with the tournament. I went and looked at some others. He's a jump up and get it guy, take it off your head, all that. But at the tournament, most notably, because kids his size generally don't stop and start well, he had a break where he went over the top of the linebacker, but before he did, he gave a cut out one way, then drove back behind him and got open for reception. He understands the concepts of playing against zone and still utilizing quick cuts like he's got a guy right on him in man-to-man coverage. That's a good sign. And his length is like a condor. That never goes out of style either. He has a few minor offers, but this is a Power 5 player. So, again, name Zach Droughty, and I don't know where he's going to end up, but he's going to make a school very happy down the line. Another kid that doesn't really need introduction, especially since he just recently got an Alabama offer, Jordan Castell. He plays at West Orange. It's on the northwest side of Orlando. Really good program, and one of the coaches for 24K, Coach Mitchell, is actually the DB coach there. He's a safety / linebacker. He's about 205 right now. Alabama thinks he's going to end up at linebacker, etc. I do too, but he would like the opportunity to play safety. He'd be a really big one because he's 205 and he's getting bigger. The legs, the hips, everything are getting stronger. The width in the shoulders, you can see it. I think he's going to be a 225 to 230 guy, and he could play the overhand hybrid position based on his athleticism. There's no doubt in my mind. But he's also got the capability of being a will linebacker at some point, and he could just move around. Very good stop and start. He's used to breaking on the football, and he's went against tremendous receivers for years. His own team had Jaden Gibson, who signed with Oklahoma, one of the best players in Florida this past year. So there's no reason to think that he's not going to be a guy that, quote unquote, doesn't continue to get better. I mean, a year or so ago, he was like 175, 180 pounds. He's really blossomed. But now, once you get Alabama, you're going to get other offers too. This is a kid that's intriguing. He's probably the fastest rising player amongst the higher end guys in the state of Florida. Does he end up convincing himself he can only play safety? Rumor on the street is he just wants to play safety or whatever. Fair enough. But depending on what he does, his offer list could just explode. So Jordan Castell, that's a player to watch. I was really impressed with his ability, again, at 205 against even slot receivers to move around with him to a certain degree. He's a very good athlete. Another kid that I watched a little bit, and I need to see more of him this next weekend when they play down at Miami at the Battle Tournament. David Ramos plays at Lake Minneola, another kid on the northwest edge of the city of Orlando. He is really long, like head and shoulders above everybody. He's 6'4" at least. And he's a receiver that's a little raw, but you can't teach his size. 6'4", 175 pounds. He's a kid that has upside for somebody that needs a boundary receiver. I have no idea where he's going to go. He doesn't have any offers yet, but he's going to get some. Where it is, I have no idea. Again, I need to see more of him because I didn't focus on him yesterday. There's just too many good players on their team. But I'm going to do that a little bit this next weekend. See what he can do. Finalize a little bit more information. But for now, put him on your radar. David Ramos plays at Lake Minneola. He is a wide receiver class of 23. Sticking with this same team, but moving to the underclassmen ranks, there are two kids that I focused on. One I know really, really well because he lives here in Tampa where I do. And the other one I've seen a few times as well. It's a 25 kid. Bredell Richardson, class of 24, plays at Carrollwood Day. It's on the north side of Tampa. And he's coached well. He played with Cam Newton 7-on-7 last year, and I'm sure he'll probably play with them some this year as well. He is the fundamental route runner, the guy that's more explosive than you think, that is very fluid, makes the clutch catch. And even though he doesn't necessarily look fast, he always seems to get behind the opposing corner. That's bottom line. Part of that is just how smooth he is. He doesn't have wasted motion. There's 40 time where you're running a line, and then there's speed with change of direction. Bredell has speed with change of direction, and that's what receiver play is about. If you can make breaks and cuts and even stops, suddenly you create separation, and he does that. The other thing that was interesting about him yesterday, Bredell played safety. And I yelled over at Coach Mitchell, I've never seen him play defense. And he said, man, we've got 2 Power 5 receivers out on the field right now on defense. And I looked out there, Bredell was at free, and sure enough, Sorey was at middle linebacker. And I'm like, yeah, they just have so many good players, they move guys around. Just give them a chance. Fair enough. The funny thing about it is, although a few times he was yelling at the sideline, what do I do here? What do I do here? He was making plays and catching up with the receivers. And then in the game against Certified Dogs, he even had an interception off a deflection in the middle of the end zone. That might have been the game-saving play. It's debatable because there were several big plays in that game, but he has a knack just to find the football. Bredell is a class of 24 kids, so he's got 2 more years of high school. But in terms of football IQ, he's way above what most kids are, even that are leaving high school right now. And he's a young man that has added the strength, especially in his upper legs. His upper legs were definitely bigger than I saw him last year. He's about $185, 6'1.5", 6'2". He's got 20 plus offers. I mean, he's not hurting for the opportunities. But most importantly about him, he's just always around the ball. I can't say that enough. If you're around the football, that's a good problem to have. Last player is somebody that I've talked about a few times before, but I hadn't seen him play 7-on-7. That's Colin Hurley, 6'1", 210-pound quarterback, Trinity Christian Academy up in Jacksonville. This is the best quarterback I've ever seen at the freshman level before. And the thing that was different about him, even from just 3 months ago, A, is a lot bigger. B, he's a kid that has redefined his body. When I say bigger, it's not so much a weight. He's only gained like 5 to 8 pounds, something like that. But he's changed his body. He sent me a video this morning. I don't know how recent it was, sometime in the last month, where he deadlifted 510 pounds. Now, keep in mind, Colin Hurley is 14, a freshman in high school, and plays quarterback. This is not a D tackle. 5'10", I've got the video. 5'10", deadlift, and he's a kid that is a freshman in high school. If you want to check it out, I can't remember which Twitter account I put it on, but FB Scout _Florida or all caps UCF _ capitalized, nation capitalized. Those are my 2 Twitter accounts. It's on one or the other. I'll probably throw it on my YouTube page as well. Florida Football Scout. If you want to check it out on YouTube, I'll have it up there as well. But the strength showed, because when you throw a football, yeah, your arm releases, the motion to get going. Then the hand is the last thing that touches the ball, blah, 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 the fingertips. He had a lot more zip. He was goofing around a little bit before a game, and he said, hey, get me warm. He talks to this guy. He goes down to the other end, not really stepping into the throw. He throws a dart on a line 30 yards. I mean, just flat. Again, he's 14 years old. That strength, I mean, he had pretty good arm strength last year during the season, and I saw him a couple of times, but the arm strength is definitively changed in 3 months. Not like a little bit, like 10%. That's an incredible transformation. And he's at a point in his life where you can make those gains. But Colin Hurley is a very unique young man because he wants it. He studies the playbook. He understands the in and out game with the zones and all that stuff. He's not just a guy that eats up man because he has a big arm and he throws it over the top. He'll dink and dunk. He'll find a guy in the back of the end zone at the last moment, there's a play I put up on my Twitter earlier today about that. He just finds a way to get the ball down the field. Now, he wasn't even on by his standards yesterday, and he still was very good. What does that tell you? He was learning with new receivers yesterday because he hadn't played with 24K before. Some of the guys didn't even know who they were, well, like literally at the tournament. That's part of 7-on-7. You have to adjust on the fly. He still looked good. But again, the arm strength stood out, the poise in the pocket. 24K is about as good as it's going to get in the state of Florida quarterback 1-2. They're good to go. The only other thing with them, they just got to get more reps with them. And that's something he's going to play this next weekend in battle. So it'll be curious to see how he does. So before I wrap this up, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm going to have a lot of other videos. I'm going to do certified dogs and some other teams coming up soon. This next weekend, the Miami Battle Tournament in particular. So everybody have a great day. Thank you much.